Talksport sports headlines with Bostik, a leading brand in construction for over 130 years. For high-performance building chemicals and waterproofing systems you can rely on. Trust Bostik.
Gareth Southgate confirms he's 26 at 5 o'clock this afternoon, and you can follow that in Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Goff from 4 o'clock, and we'll hear from Gareth at 6, chatting about those choices and the Austria game tomorrow night, which is live on Talksport. We'll be chatting to Faye Carruthers in the build-up to that announcement, and we're going to talk a bit of Everton and Ancelotti very shortly, straight after Toby Gillies with the sport.
And Sol Campbell has told TalkSport he reckons home advantage can see England prosper at the Euros this summer. Gareth Southgate does name his squad this evening at 5. They must only omit 6 from his initial 33-man squad because Mason Greenwood has pulled out with a long-standing injury. Scotland will be without John Fleck for tomorrow's game with Netherlands. He's tested positive for COVID-19. And Stuart Broad will be England's vice-captain for the 2-test series with New Zealand starting tomorrow.
The spirit of Scotland's entire UEFA Euro 2020 campaign. On Talksport and Talksport 2. Experience full throttle, high-speed, full-match commentary of every one of Scotland's essential matches. Plus, full-service pre-match build-up, campaign synopsis and reaction from inside the Scotland camp. UEFA 2020. Brave and bold and unbridled. On Talksport and Talksport 2.
Well, Hawksby, Andy Jacobs here on Talksport. Now, there's a strong word coming out of Spain that Ancelotti returning to Real Madrid is virtually done. It does seem to have come...
Oh, I think it's amazing.
Completely out of left field. Well, it certainly does to us. Maybe not to the Evertonians. Dave Johnson is from Falcon Blues TV. Good afternoon, Dave.
Good afternoon, gents. You okay?
Yeah, we're not bad. I mean, did you get wind of this? Was there a little bit of talk up on Merseyside about this or not?
I think the last 24 hours have sort of been rumours here and there going on saying, you know, Real Madrid are in contention and they want to bring him back to the Bernabeu. And there's been times when I think everyone's really looked at it and gone, Everton are not destined to have nice things. You know, and then it just seemed to be a whirlwind 6 hours going from, you know, this morning when the rumours started to pick up a bit of pace to lunchtime, and it was like, yeah, he's gone, and it's pretty much done and dusted, and all he's got to do is, you know, hand his keys back to his house in Crosby, and it's like, what the hell has happened here?
Yeah,
it's such a roller coaster that I think we're more dumbfounded than anything.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, you can look at it and say, well, look, lack of squad depth hurt Everton, you know, but there was signs were good and he was building something, and there were parts of the season where Everton looked like they were going to challenge top 6, top 4. So it is incredibly disappointing, I think, that from your point of view and from his point of view, that he, you know, was on a project and then, you know, somebody else flutters their eyelids. I know it's Real Madrid, but he's been there before, flutters their eyelids at him and off he goes. It's disappointing, I think.
I think there's a few ways of looking at it. Either Everton have said we're not going to have the finances to back it in the way we want for this summer, and he's decided to spew it, or he's decided it's too big of a rebuild job in general with Everton, because, you know, we looked at how many players that we're going to have to move on this summer before we can start a proper rebuilding project and start bringing in the players we want. And it's like, well, are these players going to be available to bring in? And if it's either been told no, or, you know, the money isn't there until we get rid of the players that are surplus to requirements at Everton. And is it too big a job to deal with for them? I don't know. But then at the same time, it's like, well, when Real Madrid come calling, it's you know, you don't really say no. But I look at the Real Madrid gig for Ancelotti and go, for someone who just the other week was having a go at all these dozen clubs who were trying to get into the European Super League, and included Real Madrid in his comments saying, you know, what are they playing at? He's changed his tune quite quick and then decided, yeah, okay, well, I'll go. So there's got to be more to it, to why Everton have suddenly, you know, are their hands tied and we let him go. But it's just a very strange one, and it's still it's still raw at the moment.
Yeah, understandably. I mean, we haven't heard anything from Everton. I would imagine when they do break cover, the hierarchy at Everton, they'll be really disappointed. They won't be able to, to sort of cover that. I would imagine they'll have every right to, because he wasn't only saying last week that he wasn't going anywhere.
Exactly. And I think Mashidi was seriously disappointed with him as well. But this is weird. This has been such a weird day. I've been watching other YouTube channels and all the other lads online and stuff like that, and it's coming to terms and trying not to come to terms with it, because it's either going to happen or it's not. And it seems like there's been rumours that Ancelotti was in Spain over the weekend. I think Everton had just switched the phones off and decided to work after the bank holiday. But there's always going to be two sides of it. What's Everton's side of it? What's Ancelotti's side of it? Did Everton really been pulling out all the stops to keep him, or has he just gone, listen lads, I'm going. There's no way you can stop me. My head's been turned. It's so strange, so strange.
It is. I mean, it was a surprise when he first took the job. I think people were surprised. I was surprised, because he's a manager that's always traded in the top clubs. But he saw something at Everton, which I think a lot of people can see. And if you look, you've got the England keeper, you've got a strike force, Richarlison and Calvert, in most clubs kill for, let's be honest. James Rodriguez, there's some good things there. So, I mean, it's quite a plum job. It's not, and an owner who has got money. I mean, I was surprised to hear you say there that you think that they're not going to have any money to spend. It seemed to me, with the new stadium and everything, Everton was a club that was really on the up.
You'd like to think so, but as I said at the start, Everton don't seem to be destined to have nice things. We're that club where it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps and 3 steps back. There's always something to trip us up along the way. You look at how well we were doing. We were, second at Christmas. Everything was great. We had a #1 single. And then everything just seemed to just. What happened? Did the players not want to know? Did Ancelotti not want to know at some point? The home form just completely went out the window. The away form was great, and we just couldn't merge the two. And I even think that, at a point, as Ancelotti, you'd think, I can't do anything with this side. I'm struggling to get a tune out of some of these players, and the same with managers before him, Marco Silva, Ronald Koeman. There's players in there that have gone, well, I can't get a tune out of this Everton side. Who can, and if Ancelotti certainly hasn't been able to, and he's not been, he's gone, well, there's better for me out there that I can, I don't have to have this stress of Everton. It's like the fans will always say, Everton is one of the most stressful things in the world. Even behind your own job, Everton will stress you out before your job does. And I think Ancelotti maybe even got to that point as well.
Well, I mean, I suppose he knows at Real Madrid he'll probably lose his job within 2 years. He might win something on the way, but that won't really have a bearing on it. So maybe that takes the stress out of it. But finally, Dave, we're getting a whisper that the club are interested in Nuno, who's just recently left Wolves. Does that excite you as a prospect or not?
Yeah, I mean, he played some seriously attractive football with Wolves. We saw that. The injuries to his players didn't help him. Especially, the season before last, he had a great season. He was doing so well with a lot of the Portuguese lads that he brought in. Maybe he can get a tune out of this Everton side, but for me, I think if we're gonna go for top class managers, which is what we need to do, we need to stop looking at. I don't want to say also rans, but we've brought in the caliber of Carlo Ancelotti. So my personal choice now, and no one else matters to me, is Conte. I know he's just come out of Inter Milan, so Everton all out for Conte for me.
That would be a coup.
Yeah. He's only going to go somewhere where they've got money to spend.
He does. He does like a few quid to spend, which probably would count out my team Spurs as well. but we'll see.
If Everton are willing to throw the money at him, if we've got to, like I said, if we've got to get shut of a lot of these players that are currently, on big wages, on big contracts at Everton, and we've got to try and do that. Then if we've got to do that, and we'll say, well, here's all the money you need. We're going to get a compensation package potentially off Real Madrid for Carlo. Then there you go. There's your wage and there's your money, and let's go and do it. But for me, the only manager that I can see for me is Conte.
Well, they thought big with Ancelotti, so maybe the board will do the same with Conte. But good to talk to you, Dave. We'll let you go with the shock. We can hear it in your voice, understandably. It's come from nowhere. So, yeah. Cheers, Dave. All the best.
Nice one. Take care, lads. See you soon.
Dave Johnston there, Evertonian. Cheers, Dave. Blues TV reaction.